Greetings, I am Live.
And I am Scandal.
And let's play a game together.
Oh, okay.
It just reminds me of how you're really a part of the club now.
Not to mention the fact that I'm standing in front of you in the club room. WTF. Except I didn't say that out loud, but I probably would. Because that's just the kind of character I am. I'd be like, God!
Honestly, I'm surprised that isn't just said aloud, given how much of a dick this person has been to Sayori at this point. I'm also like, I'm having this experience that I wanted to go over in the last one, but we ran out of time, and I was just like, everyone else, again, suddenly disappearing to create this complete isolationist fantasy, despite the fact that you're all in earshot and you're all very close to each other at all times. Removing everyone else from the screen each time really does suggest that these conversations are intimate, even though they're not, which is why we dug in so hard with everyone else just watching Splat tear Sayori to pieces verbally, and then just sort of eating popcorn or just kind of like, well, let's talk about something else,
Good. Awkward conversation time. Whoa. You feel like that one, I wonder if it was like a TikTok, I think, where there was just this couple, the neighbors arguing and the couple's outside doing all of their tasks
it was
outside.
So good. It was a TikTok, and they're like out there trying to prep dinner while they're on the back porch listening to neighbors yelling. They're out there like sweeping and dusting and vacuuming the porch to listen to the neighbors yelling. They're out there, you know, like folding their laundry to listen to the neighbors.
And you're just like, the drama's so thick.
You're like, and they're just like, yeah, basically listening to this telenovela in the neighbor's house going, no, we have stuff we need to be here for a reason.
Important.
We're not eavesdropping. We're just on the back porch. Total legitimate.
Oh, absolutely. Well, of course. Like, I'm not really into it yet, but that doesn't mean I'll break my promise.
Why did I promise to be here? Peer pressure? Oh.
See?
No, that's me.
You suck.
See? Peer pressure works really well. And now you'll be forced to be more social, which will be good for you, because everyone should be forced into things that are good for them according to the social rules of adulting, that personal boundaries don't matter if it's good for you. I mean, that's what
stop dropping them
me.
bums.
It's like I said before, Splat. Deep down, you're not selfish at all, you know?
Wow, we got completely, called out. You are a selfish fuck. Yes.
See, deep down, though, way under all of that, down in the soles of your feet, you're not selfish. And that's the important part, that it's in there somewhere.
And I'm going to completely excuse this all the time because I'm that potentially, desperate or sad.
And if we can make you happy, then you'll really contribute to the rest of us.
Great.
Bye. Trying new things like this for other people, it's really selfless. That's something that only really good people do.
No, Sayori, it's a thing that manipulative people do.
You are a really good person down at the bottom of everything. The tiny little sliver of a 0.01% under your foot is a good person, and we will find that peace.
Either that, or I'm literally just doing it, one, to be polite, or number two, going that the benefits of this don't really, outweigh anything, or outweigh
the consequences.
Outweigh the consequences, or
it's
just
going neutral.
It's a neutral experience, or actually there are greater benefits than there are negative points to this. I gotta tell you, there are lots of other reasons to do this. Sometimes it's also the fact that I was trying to make sure that I could get to a certain show, and now I have more of an excuse not to talk to my parents after school, so it works out real well. There could be any number of reasons.
Also,
honestly.
Now I don't have to eat my mom's dinner.
Yay! Mom's food
guess
is
what else? I just really don't have to ever plan anything for my transcript with my parents now when they go, honey, we'd really like you to. I am in a club. I have got it all covered.
Figured out.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks, Sayori. I'm not sure if Sayori sees the full picture of my motive here. Then again, see, we're totally a jerk. This doesn't.
Yeah.
I can't deny that she's part of the reason I joined because
she literally
she
dragged
forced
me
me
here.
into this. Yep, I just kind of had to do it, knowing how much this means to her and all. Oh, I guess I kind of do have feelings. See, I told you it was that buried thing going. Okay, I feel a little guilty, so I might as well just sort of go and talk to it. Or I feel like I should feel guilty, so that's why I'm here.
God, I remember when I was a kid and I had some I had some real troubles emotionally connecting with other people when I was very young.
Well, nobody ever explains themselves.
Even without that sort of thing, like, just I was a neurodivergent child. And part of it was, exacerbated by my dyslexia and like trouble, learning in school. But there was this experience where, someone like, don't you feel bad about what you've done? And, or about the inconsiderate behavior you had or the mistake you've made or how you hurt someone else's feelings. And I would feel bad that I didn't feel what they wanted me to feel, and so I was doing the wrong thing, and that made me feel bad. I didn't feel bad about hurting someone's feelings. I felt bad that I didn't feel bad about it because I was supposed to feel bad, and I felt bad for not feeling right.
And maybe I'm an asshole, but the thing that I always felt like as a kid, and especially watching other adults with kids, they never connect them to the reasons why shame should ever be a part of this. What actually happened? What does it mean for this thing? What are the, you don't spend the time to connect people to do it. You actually, that's one of the reasons I've actually really liked my friend in regards to where she will actually point out things and go, but is this thing actually what you say it is? Because you usually realize after a point going, oh my God, I'm literally just taking all this shit for granted. I don't actually know. I'm assuming actually that a certain experience is happening or that a certain emotion is felt or a certain thing is going on. I've appreciated it. It's a weird thing to enjoy, but I think based off of what I've seen from other people, but there really is a benefit to going, you guys, this doesn't actually mean that it's there at all. They're implying that it's there, but that doesn't mean it at all, which actually will help you if you're in a conversation with someone and they're trying to get you to do something without stating the obvious. It's a very common manipulative tactic. You'll see it a lot in regards to abusive parents or manipulative parents who are just trying to get you to do something and you're going, yeah, but you need to call them out on it. Going, no, I need you to tell me directly what you want. Not just go, oh, well, this thing is just really disappointing. You're like, so what about it?
Super valuable with your bosses and in a workforce kind of thing, or even with your teammates kind of thing, but especially anyone who has power over you or is trying to exert power over you, making sure that there's no plausible deniability in what they've said.
Yes.
That there's no double context kind of thing, it could be taken one way or another. That thing where they always have the mob boss going, I didn't say to kill him.
Right?
I just clearly demonstrated that I wanted this person dead, but I didn't tell anyone to kill him. So it's, you want to remove the plausible deniability or the double meaning or any implied context and go, what are we actually talking about here? And a lot of people get really annoyed about it because they want that plausible deniability. They want that space to later go, well, I didn't tell you to do that, or I didn't say that. Well, that's not what we were talking about. And that they can then gaslight you because clearly you were having that conversation to you, and they tell you that's not possible, it couldn't have been happening, these were the words I used.
That wasn't your reality. You just thought that the light was flickering.
Or
it's okay.
that kind
or that
of
it
thing.
meant something. Yeah.
You just assumed my emotional and complete, but at the same time, sometimes they really are trying to say something completely else, and they don't realize the way you're taking it.
Yeah.
In the same way that it's really fun sometimes when Scandal and I read comments together, and we both have a completely different reaction to what it means or to the tone it's in, the emotional tone, and then we look at each other and go, huh? And then we discuss.
Yeah.
And then we come back from there. It's a lot of fun. Additionally, sometimes when we read lines or things like that, we also get very different reactions as well. And it's really interesting to do that and go, you've been in this completely other place than me, and you're talking about something completely else. And then finally when we line up, sometimes when we've been having two parallel conversations where we think we've been talking about the same thing the whole time, we finally find the hit point and we're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so clarity is really valuable and really good.
Yeah, being direct.
But I was gonna say, as far as knowing this means this much to her about her at all, it could also be, and I know I'm gonna have to see her every single day, and so I know she'll be whining about this or sad on my emotional baggage on me every single day if I don't do this.
Oh my God.
So it's not necessarily I really care about Sayori so much as it will be less inconvenient if I do this.
I'm staving off the potential inconvenience.
Or the known inconvenience. You're always like that.
Yeah, this is just Sayori. She's just completely a mess. Thanks.
Yeah. And I'm gonna make sure you have lots of fun here, okay? That will be my responsibility so that you're never disengaged and you will give your best because that's what you do when you're having fun. I am not gonna leave this alone.
Oh my God, except for the fact that it completely goes with it.
That will be my way of thanking you for being here.
Wow, honestly... I feel that in regards to sometimes where it's you invite somebody to something and you feel like you really do have to go out of your way to really make them feel comfortable.
To support their experience.
And then once they get settled, then you usually leave them.
There is some level of that. There's also a level of, sometimes people think when you bring them in on something that you are going to support them, and you're just like, no, I invited you, but it's just as if you had brought yourself. There's no connection to us here other than I pointed you in the direction of this thing. And there's been a few times where I've been like, hey, there's this thing that I'm involved in, and I've invited some other person that seemed like they would be interested to go and do it, but I wasn't inviting them to do it with me as my companion while we were there together. It was just like, you can totally join this open activity that is a thing that people can do. I also do that.
Yeah, I remember a couple of those things where you're just really like, look, I'm just suggesting an activity you could do on your own, but I'm not gonna go. And some people really just don't hear that. They just go, huh?
Or you go I also do this thing, and you totally, as a free public person, can do this. And then they go, we'll do it together. And I'm going, no.
Yes.
I will be there at the same time as you, but that is different than us doing it together.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Am I thanking you? All right. Well, I'm gonna hold you to that then.
If I'm not having fun, it is your fault.
And I will have someone to blame. Hooray!
Oh, yay! Now you'll read my poem too, right? Don't worry, I'm really bad at this.
Sure.
So when I say don't worry, what I mean is it won't compare to yours at all, and you won't have to read anything that will make you think in any way, because I know how you hate thinking.
Great.
So
we'll see about that. Like, let me see it, girl. Come here. Just sit. Dear sunshine, the way you glow through my blinds in the morning, it makes me feel like you missed me, kissing my forehead to help me out of bed, making me rub the sleepy from my eyes. Are you asking me to come out and play? Are you trusting me to wish away a rainy day? It does say trusting. Okay, I look above. The sky is blue. It's a secret, but I trust you too. If it wasn't for you, I could sleep forever. But I'm not mad. I want breakfast.
Honestly, that's hilarious. I like that they put some specific errors in there, but also I'm like, where's your messy handwriting? I need it.
It is supposed to be messy handwriting.
This page looks way too organized for everything we've described about Sayori, which could be one of two things. One, this is just the format they're doing all the poems in, and so it doesn't matter. Or two, we are fucking judgmental of her like hell, and her handwriting is fine, and so is her organization and her paper.
Yep,
on the other hand, didn't we say a lined piece of crumpled notebook paper? So yeah, it just doesn't match up. But I kind of love the idea that even though it doesn't match up, that basically it is this, and we're going, she's so disorganized and sloppy, because we're just judging her harder than everyone else for reasons. Because, you build up emotional, basically, sort of tension over time, or emotional irritation over time that just doesn't go away regardless of current behavior. It's just that sort of slowly building irritation.
Because you never address what the actual issue is.
Yeah, that is always that level of I'm always 20% annoyed with you.
Yeah.
Period.
All right. But if it wasn't for you, I could sleep forever. You really sound unhappy, kiddo. Oh, it's so bright and so happy and so cheery, and no, it's okay. I want food anyway.
I guess I want food.
Sayori, this is just a guess, but did you wait until this morning to write this?
No. Just a little bit.
You can't answer just a little bit to a yes or no question. Like, those are close-ended questions, honey bun. That was not an open-ended question.
Yeah, open-ended questions are so you can get more discourse and more details and get people talking and to really share their feelings. Close-ended questions are so you can shut up and give me the answer.
Yeah.
I don't want to know anything about you, just the answer. And honestly, I am a perpetrator of using close-ended questions to try and end a conversation in a working environment.
Yes.
All the time. I go, do you know this? Which is a yes or no question. And then people start to go, well, if you think about it this way, I'm going, no. Do you know or not know? Because if you know the answer, then I can use your known answer to solve this problem quickly. And if you do not know it, I can then walk away from you and go do the proper research to get this answer.
Whoops, sorry, blocking the mic.
Sorry.
Be careful.
Okay, but, and that's the thing, is I'm not trying to shit on them. I'm not trying to test their knowledge. I'm just going, you are a resource that might know this based on previous knowledge and, my, awareness of what your skills are in this job. Do you know the answer to problem in front of us?
See, my problem is that I always drove my friend crazy with this in regards to when we were at work. My friend would ask the yes or no question, and I'm like, I know part of it. So yes, but also no. See, and also I'd be like, there are these other things that I know around us that would be helpful information for that particular issue, because I am a big proponent of talking my ass off sometimes, and also going, I have lots of information, and also I can usually guesstimate pretty well. But
on the other hand, my friend was usually pretty good. Like, once we'd gotten used to working together, because that's the only job we've ever worked together in other than this.
Hello, friend.
Hello, greetings.
Salutations.
And it was this experience of, it got to be a good thing with my friend ultimately, where I could be like, okay, all I want is a yes or no answer, or going, sure, discourse information on this, and I could be clear, because sometimes there was so much of a time crunch, because manufacturing, things need to keep moving.
Yes.
But with
particularly food manufacturing.
I was gonna say, people that were, parallel to my level of employment or above me would be so obtuse and round the block all the time. And they're basically, some of them were doing that thing that I associate as a masculine leadership behavior. Doesn't mean that's what it is, but that's what I associate it as.
You're like,
of going, what I'm going to try and do is to try and get you to think about this problem and try to get you to solve it yourself and try to encourage you to really use your brain on this rather than giving you the answer. And I'm going, all I'm asking is, do you know the answer? And if you do, I can use that to solve the problem and then learn from what that answer is. And if you don't, I absolutely will go and research it. Using my brain directed me that you might already know the solution to this thing that I've never seen before.
That's a research thing that I've done. That's why I came to ask you, dingus.
Yeah. Going, sometimes the knowledgeable, thoughtful thing that your employee is doing is asking you for the solution, and you have to pay attention to who they are and whether or not they remember those kinds of answers when you give them, and then extrapolate and build from those things. Or if they just go, fix it for me, which there's a difference.
Yeah.
I would say, and if they do, then when they come to you and go, how do you solve this? And you go, okay, here's what you do. Then you let them implement that, and then you can discuss around it after stuff is moving again, and there's no, basically immediacy to it.
I always found that to be really weird, honestly, in regards to some environments, though, where you'd be talking to people and you'd ask them for direct answers, and they're like, let's be incredibly roundabout, and you're like, we don't have the time for you to be this roundabout right now. I'm asking you because this is an issue. Like, and I got that sometimes myself, where I'd be like, look, I'm asking you because I don't know. Like, I have run into a wall, and I'm actually a pretty high performer. I'm asking you because I need your help. And not because I'm just trying to get in your way, or just trying to fuck off and not figure it out, or just do something.
That's the one that bothered me. And for me, it always felt like sort of a discriminatory or judgmental thing, kind of going, well, you need to learn to use your brain to figure these things out,
honey.
And I'd be like, using my brain told me that you would likely know, and that I could also get more details from you on it, and what also I would need to know in the future after I solve the problem and keep production moving.
There's also the thing, too, that I always find to be irritated about that as well, is sometimes it's like, sometimes people don't have the brain power for that, which is why they're asking, because they've run out of resources. That is the only line they have, is going, I know I need to know the answer, but I don't know what it is because I'm tired. So we were working a night shift for a long time. Sometimes, and I especially was exhausted sometimes, where I'd just be like, I don't know. I cannot think of anything else because I'm overwhelmed. I'm exhausted. I've already been gaslit several times about various different things, or whatever the crap was going on. Or basically, I've got too many things on my plate. I need this answer now. I can't be just mucking about, running around in a circle.
And like I said, I appreciate when it's like, well, you need to learn to make these decisions independently. And it's like, I make hundreds of decisions independently all day long.
And
when I encounter something that is completely new, I often, if I have no context for how this would be handled, or I'm not sure based on the context I do have, I'm going to ask you, my leadership, going, what is the proper way to do this? And then you go, oh, well, you should be using your brain. And it just bothers me because, again, I'm a very engaged employee, and that one behavior irritates me. I also feel like it's condescending to other people. So, like, you really can find the difference between employees. If you pay attention to one that's just going, solve it for me, and, oh, how do you do this? And they never pay attention, they never learn, versus those who are like, what do I do here? And then you teach them, and then they know.
And I would be surprised, actually, where I think a lot of people that we ended up working with, regardless of if they started out of going, just tell me, eventually really became very active because you would connect them to their job. That's one of the biggest things that I always noticed whenever I was training anyone or being involved with anyone, going, it's really important to be aware of these things. There's also this thing to watch. You're watching for these things. These things are there for specific reasons. They're not just there because, but they are,
And the more context I found, even for disengaged employees, the more context and empowerment I gave them for, like, knowledge empowerment for their job, the more engaged they would become, or they would quit.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because they would find that you cared about them either way, and either that they didn't want that level of engagement, and so they were going to find a job that fit them better, or they would start engaging. I had really high employee engagement on my teams, and it was really cool. But there we go. Anyway, you can't just answer a yes or no question.
Oh my God.
I forgot to do it last night. But it works just fine because, my poetry's not usually that good anyway. all gonna forget to do it last night until the next one.
Right? Because I'm like, I have some opinions. Because one of the things that I've always found to be really frustrating about poetry is people are like, no, you just have to understand the structure and the thing and how it works and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's actually, we had an interesting thing real quick where I pointed out to my friend going, the thing that irritates me is basically past a certain point, people start going, no, it's stylization. You're allowed to do that because that's stylization. But when you had a younger, say, like artist, which is what we were arguing about at the time, they're not allowed to get away with it because suddenly it's not stylization. It's you don't know what you're doing. So we were talking about anatomy in this regard, going like, why is it with certain artists, people just go, oh, no, honey, that's stylization. That is clearly, that is clearly an anatomical mistake.
And this happens all the time with hands. And so, like, I'll see sometimes, there's some artists that I love that nonetheless are, I'm just going to say they're shit at hands.
Oh, yeah.
But hands aren't the important piece of their work.
Yeah.
However, on several of the artists that I really like, some of their work, their hands are absolute crap, weird alien hands, even when they're trying to be, based on the rest of the context of the picture, trying to be accurate, and some of their other works.
Yeah.
And you go, you just couldn't draw hands today, and that's fine. But a lot of people looking at your work because you're an experienced professional artist go, that's stylization. But a younger person doesn't. They go, oh, well, your hands need some work.
Because they really slam into people. I don't understand it. Like, it really bugs me. Anyway, so thank you very much, guys, though, for joining us.
Yep.
If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And please also feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi or our Patreon. We got some links in the description down below. Also, please feel free to share our videos. If you're having a good time or if there's a particular point that you wanted to point out to somebody and share with them, please feel free to do so. Other than that, though, I have been Scandal.
Or if you just think, oh my God, these guys have the best stories ever!
Yeah!
And you want to just shove it in someone else's face, politely.
Right.
And I have been Liz.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!